In today's tutorial, let's work on the mini pumpkin together, and that's coming up right after this. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to feature one of the smaller pumpkins of this pattern. So there's 3 different sizes. The mini pumpkins, there's only a difference of a ½ inch to each other. So I'm only going to film mini pumpkin number 1. We already have the large pumpkin in tutorial format. Today's pattern is really easy. These are much smaller than the bigger ones obviously, and they'll go a lot quicker. So if you're looking for miniature ideas for table toppers, decor for Halloween, Thanksgiving, fall, the celebration of harvest, this is for you. So let's review today's pattern. I'm using a size G 4mm crochet hook today. Instead of using the Lily Sugar and Cream, I'm using Bernat Super Value. This is called Pumpkin. That's what the color is, you know, go figure. And what we have today is that we've already done the video for the big pumpkin, and I'm gonna move to the small pumpkin. So that's on page number 2. Now the difference between mini pumpkin number 1 and mini pumpkin number 2 is the amount of revolutions after you get beyond the 5th round here. So in mini pumpkin number 1 it says to repeat the last round 4 more times, but in mini pumpkin number 2 when you get there it says to repeat the last round 6 times. So mini pumpkin number 2 is slightly bigger, but only about a ½ inch bigger. So it's not that much bigger. So I'm only gonna film the mini pumpkin number 1 for YouTube at this time, and because it's so close to each other, I think that if you really do want this one, you can just substitute that information and just change it out in order to suit you. Now when you're going to work on this, for example, say you want to do mini pumpkin number 2, it says work from the 2 asterisks to the 2 asterisks as given in mini pumpkin number 1. So in the instructions the double asterisks are up here, the 2, and down here. So when it says to work from the double asterisk to the double asterisk, you're repeating all of this instruction except for that the repeat the last 4 rounds, it's outside of the asterisk, therefore this is new information. So basically it's telling you repeat the double asterisk to the double asterisk, and then once you get that it says repeat the last round 6 more times, which would be a substitute for that, and then essentially you just have to just follow the rest of it in order to bring it to a close. You can also create a stem with this and a curlicue. Just for tutorial reasons I will do both here on camera for the smaller versions, just in case you do want to switch off with that idea. Let's begin with a slip knot. And remember there's slower tutorials available online. This is considered, I would consider this an intermediate project. Easy, experienced beginner, but definitely intermediate I guess. So we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and insert your hook into the beginning chain, yarn over, and pull through, and you'll have a center ring which will be the very center of the bottom of your pumpkin. So we're going to begin round number 1. So with this straggler, the loose end, just wrap it around the circle like it's part of the circle and just crochet right over top of it and it'll get lost. So this time we're going to chain 2, and remember what I've already just said is that the chaining 2 that we start off with never counts as a ½ double crochet. So for example we need to have 8 ½ double crochets around this entire ring, so normally this would count as 1, so therefore you'll ½ double crochet 7 more times, but because it doesn't count it's more of a filler I guess you can say. So we're going to put in 8 ½ double crochets all the way around the ring. So just go into the center of the ring, pull through, and this is ½ double crochet, so pull through all 3 loops. So that was 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And once you have your 8 done, you're just going to slip stitch to the first ½ double crochet. So not to the chain 2, but right into the first ½ double crochet. So that chaining of 2 that we start out with is more of a filler just to get you up to the right height. And so then that concludes round number 1. So round number 2 we're gonna chain up 2, remember it does not count as any of the stitches, and we're going to put in 2 ½ double crochets into each of the stitches going all the way around. So then this will take you from 8 ½ double crochets all around up into 16. So just in every stitch put in 2 ½ double crochets and continue to do that all the way around. When you get all the way back around, just slip stitch to the first half double crochet. So skip right over that chain 2 and just go right for the first half double crochet, and there concludes round number 2. Let's begin round number 3. So we're gonna chain up 2 and it doesn't count as anything within this particular pattern. So it says to yarn over and draw up through a loop 3 times in the next half double crochet, yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. So we're creating a puff stitch at this point. So we're gonna yarn over going into the first half double crochet, pulling it through, yarn over, going into the same one, pull through, yarn over, pull into the same one and pull through. All of that is now going to be your puff stitch. So you yarn over and pull through everything. So when you first try the stitch, you're probably gonna catch on some stuff. It takes a little bit of practice getting used to. Once you pull through, you yarn over and lock it with the, like a chain, and we lock that stitch into position. Now the difference between the large pumpkin and this one is that the next one called for us to do half double crochet in the next half double crochet, but because this is a smaller one, it says to put in 1 single crochet this time instead of a half double. So that's the difference if you're following both of these tutorials. So the next one is now another puff stitch. So we wrap, going into the stitch, pull it through, wrap, into the stitch, pull through, wrap, into the stitch, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through everything, lock it with the chain, and then single crochet into the next one. And you continue that same rhythm going all the way around. Let me review one more time. So wrap, in through, pull through, wrap, and through, pull through, wrap, and through, pull through. So now you have it's been done 3 times. So wrap and pull through everything, and then yarn over and pull through everything just like that, and then single crochet into the next. So continue that same patterning going all the way around. So I'm coming up all the way back around and I have 2 stitches left. I'm doing a puff stitch right now, and I'm gonna be left with the one extra stitch from this point, and that's my final single crochet in there. So if your puff stitch is on your very final stitch, you know that is something is wrong. There should be a total of 8 puff stitches. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. So once you do that, then you just slip stitch to the top of the next puff stitch that you have at the beginning, and then that concludes that round just like that. Let's begin round number 4. So we're gonna chain up 2, doesn't count as anything, and we're gonna just go into the next puff stitch, and we're gonna put 2 puff stitches into this one. So just wrap and going into the top. So right where you did that chaining of 1, that's the very top of the puff stitch. So don't come one over, just come right into the top of that one and do your puff stitch as normal. So wrap and through, wrap and through. I'm a little tight this morning as I'm doing my tutorial, and that last one I missed. You want to be a little bit fussy with these particular stitches, of course. Okay, now that you have all that done, wrap and pull through everything, lock it with a chain 1, and then puff stitch one more time into that same stitch. So it's gonna get a little bit tight in there. Okay, I missed that again. Now technically I would turn off my camera and say this is an outtake, but I prefer that you see me screwing up because it just means that we're all human, right? Okay, lock it with a chain 1, and then the next single crochet will be a single crochet. So your repeat pattern for this entire round is that every puff stitch is gonna have 2 puff stitches on top of it, and then the single crochet will be a single crochet. Please do that for round number 4. So I'm coming up all the way back around. I'm finishing up with my 2 puff stitches in the one, and don't forget to do that one last single crochet in that round, and then just join it with the slip stitch to the top of the first puff. So that concludes off round number 4. So now we're finished growing our particular bumpkin, and now for round number 5 plus 4 more times after that, we're going to do the same thing. Let's begin that. Let's begin round number 5, and we're going to repeat this round 4 more times after this. So let's just start. We're going to chain 2, doesn't count as anything. Each one of the puff stitches is gonna have its own puff stitch. Okay, this is when we stop really growing the pumpkin for increasing. So it's puff stitch, lock it with a chain 1, and then the next puff stitch is gonna get its own. So it's almost like a hat in some way, that it's gonna take a few rounds before it really comes around to look like a pumpkin. Okay, lock it with a chain 1 and then single crochet in the single crochet. Okay, let's repeat one more time. So there's 2 puffs. Each one of the puffs will have its own puff on top. So I want you to do this round just like this, plus do it 4 more times as per the pattern, and then when we come back then we'll start doing the decreasing of this pumpkin. And make sure you do have your stuffing available to you so that we can work on it and get it done for today. So once you get those 2 done, single crochet in the next single crochet and keep on going. So please do this for a total of this round plus 4 more. So I'm just finishing up round number 5 and I'm just joining it to the top of the beginning puff. Okay, so we have to repeat this 4 more times and I'm just recapping. So just make sure this last time we were doing the puffs were together. This time they're gonna be separated. So when you start this one, this will be round number 6. It's just 1 puff into each one of the puffs and then single crochet into the single crochet. So make sure you maintain that going all the way around. And this will, and make sure that you are doing 4 more rounds of this. So this is round 5. So you want 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I'm just finishing up my final round of repeating the 5th round 4 more times. And I have realized something that I want to share with you, and I don't want to pull apart my big pumpkin that I realized. See how it's kind of flat and I can see the puff stitches? It looks great. And so what I did on the big one is that I kind of pushed it down and made my stem. What I didn't realize is that on the other side of this, because I'm crocheting this way, there's a lot of fabulous texture to it, and I think that my pumpkin, the original one I did, is inside out. So what I'm gonna do, because if you're pulling it down like this you can get some beautiful texture, and I think that I've crocheted the other one inside out. So what I need to do is that when you do puff stitches, the other side of the puff stitches always stick out more, and so I'm just gonna turn it. So I've been crocheting like this, okay, and I'm gonna turn it now and crochet this way. Okay, it's the same way, it's just all I'm just doing is turning it. So I always crochet with this in front of me so that you can see it, but in this case because I want the puff stitches on the other side, I now have to crochet it so that I'm looking beyond this one and onto this one. Does that make sense? Okay, so and I'm gonna continue to crochet in the circle like this. So let's move on to the next round. This pumpkin is gonna quickly finish, so let's begin to do the next round. So we're gonna chain up 2, and it says to do a puff stitch between the next 2 puffs. So we have 2 puffs and we're going to crochet in between the 2. So last few stitches we've been going right up over top of each one of them, but now we're gonna go into the gap between them. So we just go right into the gap. It's just really easy, and we do a puff like this. Okay, chain 1 to lock it, and then we single crochet into the next single crochet. Okay, so let's review. So you got 2 puffs in a row, which is between the single crochets, just like this. We're going to puff right into the middle of the 2. It's just to a gapping space. So please do that same thing going all the way around, and then once you get that done, then you single crochet to the next, and then puff between the next 2, and then single crochet, and keep that going. And coming up all the way around, here's the last puff between the 2 puffs. Don't forget you need to single crochet into the single crochet and then just join it to the top of the next puff to finish that round, just like so. We're gonna do another round of this and then we're gonna put stuffing inside. So let's do another round. We're going to chain 2 at this point, and remember it doesn't count as anything. And this time what we need to do is that we're gonna put 1 single crochet into the puff and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch. So the next puff, don't forget to get right on top of that puff. Don't put into any other spaces that you see. Right on top of that puff for a single crochet, and then single crochet into the next single crochet. Continue to do that all the way around. I'm coming up all the way back around. I've got a single crochet over the last puff. Don't forget to single crochet in that last single crochet, and then just join it to the beginning single crochet. So let's grab our stuffing, and you just basically grab your stuffing, just ram this in the inside. Remember, don't overstuff it. You're not making an orange, you're making a pumpkin, so you are gonna want it to shape it so it keeps its shape. I notice the top kind of comes down a little bit, and I'm gonna want to do some stem work and etc. there. So grab your stuffing, let's stuff it. And if you overstuff it, you can always reach in through the puffs to pull more out, but if you don't stuff it enough, then it's gonna be deflated. So I now have my pumpkin stuffed, and it always feels like it's overstuffed, but then last time I did that it wasn't stuffed enough, so I've got more in there than I would normally want to put in. I'd rather play it safe than sorry. So let's continue. We're going to chain 1 this time, and we're going to do 1 single crochet in each of the next 2. So just 1 single crochet in the next 2, and then the next 2 are going to be a single crochet together. So single crochet 2 together. So just insert into the next stitch, pull through, and insert into the next stitch, pull through, and now you have 3 loops on your hook, pull through all 3, and that makes those 2 stitches into 1. So let's continue the repeat pattern. So the next 2 are going to be 1 single crochet each, and then the next 2 are going to be together. So go in, pull through, and going in, pull through. So that was the next one, and pull through all that. So continue that same patterning going all the way around. So I'm just finishing up this. You should end up with the last 2 stitches as your 2 together before joining it with the slip stitch. So that's 2 together, and just join it to the beginning single crochet that you started with. Let's move on to the next round. Let's move on to the next round. We're going to do chain 1, and it says to do 1 single crochet into the next single crochet, and then the next 2 are together. So the next 2 stitches, so 1, pull through, going into the next one, pull through, and then pull through all 3 loops. Continue that same patterning going all the way around. So 1 single crochet, and the next 2 are together. So this is decreasing even more stitches to make the bottom of your pumpkin flat. So continue that until you get back to the start. The next round is our final round. Chain 1, and then single crochet 2 together all the way around. So the next 2 are together, pull through, and next 2 together, and keep doing that all the way around. There's not very many stitches left anyway. And then what I want you to do, I'll come back and we'll leave an extra long string, and then I'll show you how to close it officially. So I've gone all the way around. I want to leave a little bit of an extra string here, and I still left in my hook, and I'm just gonna pull this yarn right up like this. There's still gonna be a slight space, so just using your darning needle, just insert your yarn into the eye of the needle. Okay, pulling everything through the eye, and just quite simply just go across the hole and just kind of close it off. Just go across back and forth, and then when I don't need to do a lot of it here, so in order to close this off perfectly you can just go into the direction, the same direction 3 times. So let's see how I'm going back and forth, but I choose different fibers to go into so that this loose end will never be shown, just like that, and I trim. So let's move on. We still have a curly Q to make, and we can shape this as what we need. You can also even just drag, if you're not getting the right shape too, you can just use a darning needle and some yarn and just kind of go through and just secure it to the bottom in order to get that perfect shape. So let me try that here live on camera, see if that's gonna work for us. I want to kind of pull it down a little bit. Again, this is about creativity, and you can do what works for you. So I put in a slip knot on the one side. I'm determining that this is the bottom because it has more flat stuff going on here. This has the ridges starting up closer to the top. So I'm gonna put this into the eye of the needle. So this is where ideas from patterns kind of take a different turn. So I'm gonna come up through the bottom, but I'm not gonna pull the yarn all the way through, and I'm gonna come up to the top middle. Okay, and I'm gonna dive back down, so don't pull that all the way through, and I'm gonna dive back down through a different section, coming to the bottom in a slightly different spot. So now I'm gonna pull, and I'm gonna insert my needle into that slip knot like so, and now I can just pull it until I get it to kind of just sink down a little bit, and I'm getting extra fiber that looking there. Okay, so I'm just gonna sink it a little bit, and once I'm satisfied I just run it through the bottom fibers just back and forth 3 times. So 1, and I left an extra long string for the starting so I can just use my darning needle and I can hide that. So this is 2, and 3. Coming back. A project can never stretch in 2 different directions at the same time like that. So that's why you can do that. So once you get rid of that, just take your darning needle. This is your extra long string, because nobody wants to see the tails of your work. So just diving in, just catch it and I bring it back out. And so now I can safely trim it to where it's popping out there. Therefore I have a pumpkin that looks like it's settling, and of course it's full of fiber so I can manipulate it, and now it's time to make some other stuff. So let's begin to make a curlicue. I'm just using some green, and the curlicue is just a little vine that comes off the top. It's more whimsical than anything. Using the same size hook, a 4mm size G crochet hook, and we're going to chain 16. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17. Oops, I just gotta stop at 16. So 16. Now if you want more than one curlicue, there's nothing stopping you to do that. If you want them to be longer, there's nothing stopping you. It's up to you. So to do a curlicue, all you have to do is go second chain from the hook, just like so, and put in 3 single crochets into that chain. And if I would just grab the yarn properly, maybe I could do it. So let's go. So 3 single crochets into that first chain. Okay, it's the second chain from the hook. And then 3 single crochets into the next. So you're just gonna go 3 single crochets into every chain going all the way. This is gonna cause it to rotate in a clockwise position, just like you see. If you're left-handed, it might go into a counterclockwise. I really can't think about that too much. You see it's kind of manipulating, and it will do like a corkscrew doing that, because you're putting way too many stitches in to the chain, therefore it will cause it to bend like that. So continue to do 3 single crochets all the way around. When you get done, we're just gonna leave an extra long tail so we can sew it to the base of the stem, but we still have to make that next 2. I'm on my very last chain. I'm putting in my 3 single crochets. So this goes really quickly, to be quite honest with you. Once you have your 3 in there, leave an extra long string so that you can use that to sew into the stem of your pumpkin. So because my stem is not quite done yet, I'm just gonna hold off on that for a bit. This extra string that we had starting off with here, we're just gonna use a darning needle and just kind of hide it into the fibers. You can use your crochet hook too to weave it, but the darning needle does a much better job, and it's probably faster too. So you just ram it through some of the fibers coming through, and then you can just trim it because you know it's through the fibers. Okay, so there's the sewing string in order to sew it to the stem. So let's start to make the stem together, and we're just gonna create a slip knot. And the stem is pretty simple. So we're gonna chain 2, 1 and 2, and it says to put 9 single crochets second chain from the hook, which is the beginning chain, going in there, and do 9 single crochets. So just 1, and this is gonna cause it to make a big circle, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. And then it says to join to the first single crochet with a slip stitch. So we come into the first one and slip stitch just like this. So let's move along to the next round. It says working in the back loops only, 1 single crochet into each. So we just continue and go. So there's 2 strands. So if you're new to crochet, there's always 2 strings. Okay, when you go into both, it's 1 stitch, but if you go into the one that's on the other side, the farthest away from you, 1 string only, that's called a back loop. So just coming in and just go into the back loop only for 1 single crochet, and this is gonna cause a ridge to show up in your stem. So just into the back loop only, it's 1 strand, and we're gonna do that all the way around. It's kind of a trick for making projects kind of bend and have shaping, is using the back loops. Also see that a lot in hats for stretching and etc. Okay, so coming all the way back around just like this. Okay, let's move along to the next round. Let's begin the fourth round. I think there's a typo on the pattern. It jumps from second round to fourth round without any instructions, so I'm assuming this should be the third round even though it says fourth. So let's chain up one, and we're gonna go into both of the loops now in each stitch going all the way around. After you get this round done, it says to repeat this round 5 more times, and so basically you're just growing your stem up. Okay, and what I would do is turn it so that it flips it on the inside, so the inside is out like this, and continue to go around at that time. So continue that, and I will meet you back up on the next round that it says, where we'll do the stem area where it attaches to the top of the pumpkin. We are now ready for the final part of this stem, which concludes almost the tutorial work for this before sewing this to the top of the pumpkin. So we're going to go in, and it says chain one, and it says half double crochet, 1 double crochet, and half double crochet in the next single crochet. So we're gonna do a half double crochet, a full double crochet, and a half double crochet into the next one like this. And then when you read the instructions, it says 1 single crochet in each of the next 2. So the next 2 are gonna be 1 single crochet, and this will make sense why you're doing this. So the next one is going to be a half double crochet followed by a full double crochet and a half double crochet. Okay, and single crochet in the next 2. Continue that same patterning going all the way around, and this is creating a really interesting look to the top of it, so it's almost like gonna be a square look when you're done. And now I'm finishing this round with 2 single crochets, and then I'm gonna slip stitch it to the beginning single crochet that we started with, or the beginning half double. So this is kind of what it looks like from the top point of view. It's like a mini hat, just etc etc. So all this is, and I'm gonna leave an extra long string, so let me trim that now. I'm gonna need my stuffing. This string that's popping out is just extra. It's just from the starting. So all I'm just gonna do is I'm just going to pull this string out, and I'm going to use that string to sew on, and I'm going to put on the curlicue afterward, but you just look down from the top and just place this in, and I want to do it so it kind of sinks down a little bit to give the actual pumpkin look like so. And so I just gotta stuff that a little bit, add my curlicue in, and when I come back I'll have that all done just to show you. So actually I better show you how to do that because I know somebody's gonna email me on that. So coming in, I'm just gonna insert this long string. Let me get some stuffing up from the bottom of the desk. Not too much, just enough to keep it from collapsing. This is probably too much. Okay, and I can always save that for a project in the future. So just using your fingers, just kind of ram it in. And stuffing you can get at any craft store and any place that sells crafts for the most part. So I want to look down, and I want to come in and just kind of place it down on the center, and just using my string, just coming in, going into the orange, and then back up. And then through the green or brown again. So I'm gonna jump to the next stitch. If I'm gonna do a large jump, do it underside, don't do it overside. Meaning that when I come back up, I can skip over some of the stitches here, but when I come up, I want to come up on one and then just jump down in the next stitch just to make it look like it's hidden. Okay. So, and again, if this is not shaping properly, you can just use your skills with your darning needle in order to kind of force it down. So when I come back, I'll have all this done just to show you my final look. So here's my mini pumpkin, and I did sink down the one a little bit, and if you look really carefully, which I can't even see myself, is that I went down with the brown a little bit just to make it squat a little bit more, and then of course I added my curlicue, and this is what a mini pumpkin looks like. Till next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of Yarnspirations as well as thecrochetcrowd.com. We'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.